good morning, and very good morning. Welcome to the show. Welcome to VUEGRAPHY. Alright. Yeah, today's video is black and white, and I'm just for the sake of change, I'm making this video in black and white. I'm making this video because they're a friend of mine, just like my brother, a fellow photographer. His name is Muhammad Abu Bakar, a very fine gentleman. I love him more because of the type of person he is, regardless of the photography thing. But I'm a big fan of him as a person, as a human, because he understands things. He basically he give respect, he give value, and he understands things. So he is a very fine photographer, architecture photographer. He wrote a blog actually lately, and the blog was like why you should stuck with DSLR or why you should go with mirrorless. And he put his points. I'll put the link to his blog in the description of this video, so you will get to know. I already made a lot of videos about why you should go with DSLR or why you should go with mirrorless, but he basically raised some really cool points, and I thought, okay, let me redo my previous video in a much more efficient way. I don't know how it's going to be, because like always, nothing in this video has been scripted or teleprompted. Whatever is coming into my mind, I'm going to just say it the way I always do. So how about alright, by the way, I have my iPad over here, so I was just trying to log in because I was just going through his blog before I start recording this video. Okay, I know you guys are waiting for me to start talking. Okay, I'm going to start talking now. Okay, so why should we go with DSLR and why we should go with mirrorless? Okay, this is what we're going to talk. First things first, and this is right from the bat. I am talking about, this is my view. DSLR is still valid. It was, it's still, and it's going to be in future. DSLR is still valid for taking photos. There is nothing special about the mirrorless camera when it comes to taking photos, which DSLR cannot do. Actually, as I'm making this video in October, 1st of October 2022, in this time period, the mirrorless breed still do not have the type of native glasses what DSLR have. Now, some of you are gonna say, well, we can adopt the DSLR glasses on the mirrorless. That's true, but having an FTZ adapter will causing additional component in the system which can cause you a little bit of delay in order to acquire the focus, or the focus may not work efficiently of those all DSLR mounted lenses on the mirrorless bodies. They may not, you are not sure. It depends how much compatible they are, but all those DSLR lenses will work flawlessly on the DSLR. True? Of course it's true. So when it comes to taking photos of landscape, portrait, wildlife, action, event, wedding, product, you just think about it. You have all the lenses available for all the DSLRs, from 8mm fisheye angle view, which is 180 degree in most cases, all the way up to 800mm or 1200mm easily. So you already have all the glasses in the world for the DSLR, and they work efficiently. In the mirrorless world, still progressing. It will take couple of more years, 2-3 more years, so they will reach up to an acceptable level of lenses in the mirrorless world. which will take time. For example, there are still lenses which are not available in the mirrorless world. For example, tilt shift lenses, fisheye lenses, they are still not nowhere to be found. Regardless, I'm talking about Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fujifilm, Pentax, whatever. None of them made the tilt shift lenses, the fisheye lenses. Long telephoto they start making now up to 600, still no 800. But now that's subjective, that how many people need 800. Again, that's not the part of the conversation. Alright, the part of the conversation is the DSLR still have all those lenses, all the tilt shift lenses, all the fisheye lenses, all the 800 to 1200 millimeter lenses. Everything is there for the DSLR. You just go grab the lens, go and shoot. And all those lenses work flawlessly. So when it comes to taking photos, DSLR still shine, still rule. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop DSLR for taking awesome photos. Now, that's another thing. Well, if you want, although you're gonna say, well, edge to edge sharpness. Well, now I can talk so much about edge to edge sharpness and all those things which you find in the mirrorless world. The thing is, okay, let me tell you in brief. Mirrorless world, all the lenses are for the mirrorless world, they are designed to be optically perfect, and technology have evolved over the period of time, which helping engineers to make more clinically fixed, clinically sharp lenses for the mirrorless. They were not able to make all those lenses for the DSLR. Of course they did. They made like Nikon 14-24 2.8, which was released when human being used to live in caves. Yeah, that's, I'm just giving you an example because that lens was released, I don't know, 14 years ago or 12 years ago, when nobody knew that how good or ultra wide angle lenses like 14-24 2.8 ED can perform. Nikon released that lens so long ago, and that lens is still the benchmark for optical performance. Of course, the other manufacturers like Tamron, Canon, and Sony, it took them all 1 decade, 10 years, and in some cases more than 10 years. In some manufacturers' cases, it took them more than 10 years to reach up to that level which Nikon did in 2008. It took Tamron 10 years, Sony 12 years. So you're trying to see the point? Even after 10-12 years, the company are making lenses for the mirrorless, not for the DSLR. Whereas Nikon already made those lenses for mirrorless. Even Canon, they released 11-24, but it was a 4, not 2.8, like in 2015 or something. So it took a lot of time for other camera companies to reach to that level which Nikon put in 12 years ago. So DSLR was there for a very long time. The DSLR technology is so matured, we don't have any issue in any of them. Okay, enough talking about the DSLR. So what's the hype? Why we should go with mirrorless? I just mentioned about one point out of so many points in the favor of DSLR. Now let's switch to why should I go with mirrorless? And there is only one big reason only for switching to mirrorless. And that reason is video. Yes, if you are a content creator who mostly capturing video, regardless if it's for the social media of Instagram or Facebook Reels or blah 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 blah, doesn't matter. As long as you are capturing videos, mirrorless is the domain for you. You have to switch to mirrorless. Why? Because of the autofocus system. DSLR autofocus system was never efficient, never it was meant to be for videos. Video was last 3, 4, 5 years. The mirrorless the video was spiced up and everybody jumped into the video world. Before that, nobody was caring about the video part, right? Nobody was taking care of even serious about the video part. Everybody was making video as per demand on the DSLR. But when everybody was start saying that, okay, now Instagram Reels or Facebook, video or Reels or all those stories, social media story, they are video, and video means it has to be seamless focus shifting from foreground to background, from human to any other part. So that requires a more efficient autofocus system. And DSLR was never meant or never built for the video in the first place since last 100 years. So video was not part of the DSLR, ecosystem. It wasn't. Companies barely able to squeeze in the video part into the DSLR domain, and where they mostly struggle was the autofocus system of the lenses. That's where they struggle. That's why they released different versions of the already released lenses with more efficient or with linear motors into the lenses, so they can perform a seamless focus shift into the DSLR. The DSLR was there, but even the DSLR body and the autofocus mechanism having their issue because of the mirror and stuff, and the technology. Of course, the technology was the major part. That's where the mirrorless basically changes everything. That's where the mirrorless was like, okay, now we have to build up the system which can mostly go for video, which are efficiently can take and record video. And that's where mirrorless dominates the DSLR. So if you want to switch, if you want to do video, mirrorless, period, regardless of the brand, when the system of the mirrorless was in the developing stage, alright, because they know they have to make it for video, camera companies basically thought, okay, let's do things more efficiently, let's introduce the new mount, and new mount will be much bigger, and this will open up the new possibilities for making sharp lenses, which both Nikon and Canon did. All their Z mount and RF mount lenses are edge to edge sharp, all of them, but they were not able to do that sharp lenses in the EOS mount or the F mount for the DSLR domain, because again the same thing, it was now not meant for the video at the first place. So when they switched the mount, they did everything. They made the whole mirrorless world more kind of a video centric, including the autofocus system. They made the lenses which can smoothly do the transition of the foreground and background focusing, just like I'm having right now. I'm recording this video on Z30 and it works like a charm. The high autofocus thing and all that. Don't have to worry about that, because the overall ecosystem of the mirrorless is like that. So the basic point, and in my limited knowledge, if you want to do video, you have to go to mirrorless. And if you want to do photos, you can still use the DSLR. Still you can use. Nobody is going to stop you. If your image is so good enough, like aesthetically so pleasing, nobody even going to ask you in most of the time that which camera you used, unless you did something really crazy, like you turn the night into daylight using the camera dynamic range, and then people are going to ask you, how did you do that, which camera you used? Then of course you have to tell them I used Z6 or Z7 or Sony A7 III or Canon R5 or whatever. You're getting my point? So that's the thing. Again, actually, in my view, DSLR is still good for taking photos. Actually, it's becoming more and more good for taking photos. Why? Because the DSLR domain is now more affordable than before. You're getting my point? Now, because everybody is switching to mirrorless, they are offloading their DSLR with a cheap price. So if you want to jump into the photography, start with DSLR. Trust me, for taking photos, you are now getting full frame cameras for nearly $350-400. Your crop sensor camera was more than double the price of these, up to $1,000 back in the days. Now you are getting full frame like D700 in $350 or $400. Crop sensor cameras was like up to $1,000 back in the days. So now the mirrorless world or mirrorless ecosystem is more affordable than before, and you have more lenses available for the DSLR. Even let's suppose, for example, let me give you a perspective. Like I said, the DSLR domain is more affordable than mirrorless. If you want to take photos, only photos, let me give you a perspective. Imagine you want to go and you want to be a new landscaper. You are entering into the landscape domain and you want to capture some good landscape, and you think you cannot afford 2.8 lens because it's expensive. That's true. That's true. You can go with lenses like 18 to 35, like 16 to 35 f4, 18 to 35 3.5 to 4.5 from Nikon. These lenses, like especially the 18 to 35, very sharp, very lightweight. You can go and travel. And on D700 or D600, actually I don't recommend D600. Better to go with D700 or D750. Actually I don't recommend D750. Better to go with D800. Yeah, D800 good. Or D700. They are big, chunky, solid DSLR, which can take the beating into the field and still going to give you most astonishing images. Let's call it D810 or D800. So you take 18 to 35 lens, okay, which is very cheap. It's very cheap, and you take a D800. So both of them, like a full frame camera and a wide angle lens, okay, not ultra wide, it's moderately wide angle lens, 18 to 35, in less than $1,000. Less than $1,000, you can get both camera and lens, and you can go and do your landscape shots. And lenses like 50mm 1.5 pancake, $100. You can, even in some cases you'll find $80, $60. Best portrait lens, very sharp. Yeah, of course you have to do manual focus, very sharp. Or if you cannot afford manual focus, go for 50mm 1.8 D type lens, which is around $100 or something. Best portrait lens. You want to go further, more creepy background, 85 1.8 D type. That lens can make wonder. If you want further separation, 105mm f2DC. In my opinion, that lens is the best lens for taking portrait. I own it. I shot portrait with this all the time, but on the DSLR, because it can only do autofocus. That 105 f2DC only autofocus on the DSLR because it's a screwdriver mount lens, so it doesn't have the motor inside. It cannot do autofocus on the mirrorless. It can do metering but not autofocus. So see, you have more options into the DSLR domain. In $1,500, you can have a full frame camera, a wide angle lens, a portrait lens, even up to 300 mm lens in $1,500 if you know how to find it. Of course, eBay or Craigslist or Amazon. I don't know. So DSLR domain is now more affordable. All you have to do is just to learn photography and how to go for it. DSLR is not going to break your bank. It's going to save you a lot of money in order just for taking photo. But when it comes to taking video, that's completely different. Of course, you have to switch to mirrorless. Of course. But imagine you want to take wide angle videos like this one. I can make the similar video using an iPhone, but I will be kind of struggling with voice recording. For that, there are accessories available which can make you use mic like this onto the phone, and you can make this kind of quality video using a phone. Actually, you know what? Let me try to do it. Maybe next video I will use with iPhone 14 or iPhone 11. Actually, do I have this accessory for the 3.5 pin? That's gonna be issue. How I'm going to record voice on iPhone? Of course, there is a way, but I have to think. I'll find a way, and I'll make a video, and then I'm going to put this video as a reference in one of the card over there, and then you can see. So yeah, you can make a normal wide angle video using a mobile, which everybody owns now, who are into social media thing. So yeah, you can make video recording into that, but do I really need for video mirrorless camera? Yes, I am recording this thing with Z30, but I can make the similar video using an iPhone or any Android phone. The video, and those phones are so much intelligent that they can do all kind of face tracking, eye tracking nowadays, and they are much more cheaper than these mirrorless cameras. So again, that's economical solution. But if I need subject separation, of course that's where phone will fall short. That's where I need a high-end or moderate expensive, moderate price mirrorless camera like Z5 or Panasonic S5 or R6 from Canon or A7 III from Sony. These cameras are all good for making exceptional videos. So many videos that I recorded for this channel, VUEGRAPHY, all of them recorded on Z5. All of them. Actually, my Z5 recorded videos are much better than Z13 sometimes, which you have seen. Again, technology is there. It's me how to use that technology. So there in the blog, which you can see in the description, my friend Abu Bakar mentioned so many things that why you should have stuck with DSLR, which you can read. You can click on the link, you can read all those points. But my agenda is very simple. I'm not going into the list which Abu Bakar mentioned. He mentioned both for sticking to go with DSLR, all those points, and also he mentioned the points to go with mirrorless. So he mentioned that what you need to go with all these DSLR and mirrorless. If you want to do this, you can go with DSLR. If you want to do this, you can go with mirrorless. But in this video, I'm just mentioning only one thing. If you want to do photos, DSLR. If you want to do video, mirrorless. Finish. video है. Tata, bye bye. Just kidding, just kidding. Of course, I'm not going to finish this video like that, but I'm just trying to make my point. Everything that DSLR can do, mirrorless can do. Actually, for it's other way around. Anything which, when it comes to taking photos, anything which can mirrorless can do, DSLR still can do. Now, some of you may say, well, mirrorless are having more autofocus point which can cover so many areas of the frame, but DSLR is having this kind of focus overlay, so I cannot focus over there like mirrorless or over there. Okay, for God's sake, you seriously, if this is the argument, seriously, you really gonna put the subject over there? Really? Where you need the focus point? Really? Your main subject is gonna be there? Seriously? That's where you need the autofocus point? What if I tell you you can have, okay, imagine you need a autofocus point over here, and in the OVF, optical viewfinder, you can see the autofocus point up to here, so you cannot move the autofocus point to the corner. Alright, that's where you want to switch to mirrorless, because mirrorless is having a much more broader focus coverage, and it can cover up to here. Well, you know what, DSLR can do that too, you just don't know how to do it. Yeah, DSLR, put the DSLR into live view, move the autofocus point at the back of the camera LCD to the corner, press the AF on button, and here you go. It will lock the focus even up to the corner. But you have to switch the camera into live view mode. So every DSLR in the world, in the live view mode, it's exactly become like mirrorless. Thank you, you're welcome. So if you need the focus point to be moved over the corner, over there or over there, you can put the camera, DSLR camera, into the live view mode, move the focus point using the back joystick, move over there or over there or over here or over here on this corner, and still lock the focus. You don't need to switch to mirrorless. And if you argue about, well, mirrorless DSLR lenses are not sharp, mirrorless lenses are sharp, here I'm going to tell you this. This is a very lame excuse, to be very honest. Very lame excuse. And only people who are photography, don't take it personally, okay? What I'm going to say next, please don't take it personally. But that's a fact. If your photos are not worthy to be noticed by anybody because they are not technically good, the framing is out, the color editing is bad, or anything which doesn't make them a pleasing photo for more than half a second, then it's not the DSLR fault, it's your fault. Even if you're going to switch to mirrorless and you're going to keep doing the same thing, bad composition, bad subject selection, bad editing, then still your photos is going to be ending up the same. So it's not the matter of switching from DSLR to mirrorless. It's you. You still, if your photos are good, really good composition, storytelling, right at the right time at the right place, capturing the right action with right editing, right light, choosing the right focal length, choosing the right aperture, then your photo will be so stunning that nobody going to ask or even bother to ask that, did you take this image with mirrorless? And then you're probably going to say, no, I'm still using the old chunky DSLR, 14-year, 15-year-old DSLR, which I do all the time. For me, DSLR is still the best for taking photos. Mirrorless, best for taking videos. But again, it doesn't matter. What matters is how good your photos is. You still can take stunningly pleasing photos using DSLR, but you have to work on your composition, light and all that. But if you can't, and you think that mirrorless is going to add some magical value, that's totally wrong assumption. It's not going to help. It's not going to help. It's the monkey behind the camera. Monkey always matters. Now don't take this thing, oh, Baba just said monkey to me. Well, like, you know what? Actually, people felt offended. I said the same thing on the Facebook forum, and people felt so offended. Like, why you're calling monkey? I was like, man, it's just a term. It's just an analogy. And people who know that they are not doing right, of course they're going to feel it. It's their fault. They are not lifting their game. See? So again, actually, I already said that multiple times. Let me wrap up this video now. And I need you guys to go to the link and read the blog of Abu Bakar. He is a very fine gentleman and his blog is really good. It will help you to evaluate whether you really need to stick with the DSLR or you have to switch to mirrorless. It's going to help you. But I made my point abundantly clear in this video. I hope you like this video, like always. And I'll see you guys in future with some other time with some new content. And I hope you like this black and white version. Thank you. I'll see you guys in future. Till then, take care. Bye.